All right, so now we're so module 4. I was watching it today just so I could be 100% up to speed. How did you what did you think of the module?
Yes, I do a lot of journaling, and the one thing I was thinking that actually Michelle, when she talked about journaling, was those rambling massive dump journals.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping it in a book, do what's a reverse journal so it doesn't stay with you because of that energy going from the pen into the paper. Burn it in a fire safe container, especially if you live in a tiny apartment with thin walls. The neighbors will object. So yeah, burning it to get it right out when it's that kind.
Okay. And how did that work for you?
Oh, it was great when all the stuff was coming up, when it's really strong like that. Sit down, just dump out, burn it. And that way it's like it's there, then it's gone, and there's no way anyone else can read it ever.
Are you afraid that other people might read your journal?
Me? Oh, not too much. They live on my coffee table, so it comes to stuff that's the really deep, hurtful things, like what happened when I broke up, when I finally said we're done to my ex. I'm like, I don't really want to even, for me, keep that kind of in a journal.
Okay. So you want to complete you want to really move that energy on to somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than that, I use that the first module you have for the what's the belief or event. I had the belief in there because a lot of the times I can't think of a specific event, and then what's the story, or you're attaching to it. Is it true or not? And then do you feel it's a good or bad thing? And I've used that one a few times now. And when something comes up, I'm like, okay, let's go through this. And love that exercise.
Yeah, that's so cool. I've it's really interesting doing that exercise and removing all judgment about what's going on. And this sounds really small, but for me, it's the small things that really make the biggest changes for me. When I notice that, I'm like, okay, like the other day, today's Wednesday, so Monday, I went to go to the gym to work out, and the upper parking lot was locked off. So I had to park in the lower parking lot. And not a big deal, I just hadn't done it in a while. And I went to go find a parking spot, and so the one that I wanted was in between two cars. And the cars were parked in such a way that the driver's side door for both cars was going to be right next to both sides of my car. And I'm backing into the parking lot or the parking space, and I'm like, of course, both drivers' doors are going to be next to my car. And I went, wait a minute, who's driving your car? Right, you are. How many other parking spots are there around here, by the way? You are choosing this parking spot. And my immediate next thought was like, and you can choose a different spot, and you choose to have the experiences in your life that you want. You choose, by you choosing something, you are causing yourself to have a certain experience. And I was just like, it just removed that whole, victim side of it. Like, fuck, of course both drivers' doors are next to my car. I was like, guess what? You're choosing this spot. I was like, oh. So it was awesome. It was just that little shift to go like, okay. As soon as I realized that, I said, okay, so now I'm choosing to park here. And I owned it. I said, okay, perfect. I'm still parking here because I choose to. It completely changed my experience about it.
Nah. The ones I've been exploring lately in the journal are why like intelligence is so important to me, why it's like a huge part of my identity. And then the other one, and there are times when I've actually not asked questions that could have potentially been quite helpful. And the two are very linked. for me, intelligence, while massive asset, absolutely, it's allowed me to dig out things and make connections, and it's just such a beautiful thing. It's also become a shield.
Yes. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about how you use it as a shield.
Well, going into the memories, it's those lines like, well, you should know this, you're smart. It's put up on that level of intelligence. It's, you are smart, you should know how to do things. You should be. Shoulding
Yeah,
on
you're
yourself, shoulding on.
all over yourself. Got
Um,
it.
and what I saw when I was a little, like right from little, about what the big people around me thought about stupid was, it's a very bad thing. Oh, I'm stupid, worthless, very much like just degrading themselves. And while it's not said outright that it's, no, you should never say stupid, it's bad to call people stupid. And I would see them calling themselves, oh, that was stupid. Oh, I'm stupid.
Mm.
And people who considered themselves smarter, I saw they were the people that other adults would go to and talk to and ask for the answers. They were the ones who seemed to be in more control. And when I'd see other like little kids or a sibling that had trouble understanding stuff, it was never said because it was bad to say, but you know, that look and the different way, or at least that I saw they were talked to, it was like this look in the eye that was almost pity mixed with frustration. And I don't know if there's like comparison to the other kids, like, well, they're here, you should be. I don't know if that was going on, but seeing all these inputs and then added into the question, I was one of those kids as well, why? Why? I want to know, or ask questions. And growing up in Christianity and that really sort of almost harshness to it, it's the things I heard, and these are the answers that are supposed to come with it. It's when you'd ask, well, why? I never found real satisfactory answers. Or like this one, I remember as a teenager, The Lion King had come out and they were talking about the circle of life, which I thought was really cool because I literally saw it's like predator eats prey, each tree, bugs break it down to dirt to feed the plants that would go back and in turn feed the prey animals that fed the predators in this really cool circle.
Mm-hmm.
And the caution I got when I talked about it was, well, that's a religion that isn't with God. It was like felt overridden bringing this up and asking questions about it, and so many other things that I can't quite remember, but echo that of questioning things that I was taught or questioning what people did, going back to these answers that never really satisfied. And when I'd asked, it would be I would feel very like the push down or out, left on the outside, felt like crap and not accepted anymore and all that. So it's questions and not being smart. It became that, well, if you're not smart, you're not using it and you're not moving and you're not doing, you're not really worth much. Heck, if you're not using it, it's kind of losing it. If you're not pushing through, that could actually add to the health problems, which leads back to, you're basically kind of killing yourself not doing this stuff. And I'm like, what? Oh my God. I want to fix it now. On my rest week where I'm resting. Oh God.
Oh, you're hysterical.
So.
All right. So, what have you discovered since you've been journaling? What is the biggest takeaway that you have for journaling?
It's those little things like writing through that, digging out that what I know up here and my intent totally not the same as the subconscious, that underwriting program. So it's figuring out, as someone put it, it's like how to rewrite that base code, because 95% of what we do is like computer programs exiting. It's the top 5% we do stuff with in habits that are formed. So it's being able to go in and actually look at the base code to be able to start rewriting my own operating system into a for healthier for me, and I understand what's going on down there.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to be talking with somebody who's never journaled ever, what would be the first thing that you would say to them about why they should do it?
Because in a journal, it is, for me, the one place that I can start learning how to be compassionately honest, like honest, and say those things that, oh, no, I shouldn't say that. I can learn to say them there. And the more I can say them with myself, the more I can be comfortable starting to let that real me under all the crap say what she wants to say. It's all linked. And it's rewriting myself in the most beautiful way, or rather the operating system to let me out.
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
What it is.
I love it when you start to look at what you've written down and you start to examine that. Is that really me, or is that just a story that I've been carrying around with me? That was one of the biggest things for me, is to, when I was journaling, and what I still do is, lately I've been doing more gratitude, and but when I was really going through my stuff and I was looking at that going, okay, and I'm writing about my experience of the relationship with Jennifer and in the breakup and all the things, it was really profound for me to go, okay. I use it as a way to hold myself accountable for, how I declared that I was going to walk through this lifetime. And I use it just to reflect back and just go, okay, I'm either staying true to myself or I'm allowing things to slip. And this is how I get to hold myself accountable. So that was my biggest takeaway, was to go, okay, I see what's happening here. I see the story. I get to observe it like a third person versus being in it in my head, because when I write it down, even though it's still going to be biased because it's still me, I still get to examine it, and from a different perspective, because now I'm no longer trying to visualize it in my head, and I can actually see the story on paper, and I get to decide, okay, is this a story that I'm aligned with, or is this the story that I get to change the ending to?
Yeah. I've got the gratitude journal too, and that's my most consistent one, because the one for the heavy duty work, there are times where I just write something that feels like it just cracked it open, and it's like, oh, I need some time with this.
Right.
So there's been some times where I've left it for a week and a half, because I'm like, I am reaching way down. It's like, we're going deep with this one. It's going to need time to settle. And that's why I go back, gratitude journal every day. I write something I'm grateful for, something good that happened, even if it's, I sat up today. I have 10 toes, something good that happened, something I'm grateful for. And then I like it what the Michael Bott said, something you're proud about yourself for, something like, you accomplished this. It's like, I have worked on my Photoshop skill. I am proud of that. I am proud that I have stuck with this, not in pride sense, like I am proud and better than you, or taking credit for something you didn't have. No, not arrogance, but that feeling good about stuff you've done and learning to be okay with that and love yourself. And after each entry, I put, I am enough.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I said, yeah, you are.
So I've been repeating that I am enough to myself in that journal for over 3 months now. And it's coming along more. And so this week when I was feeling crappy, the suggestion was, in between watching TV shows and resting, pick up the journal and I read like 2 entries in it. It's like 2 things of 3 and the I am enough. Just read it out loud to myself, put it down, watch some more TV or surf Facebook, pick it back up, read through it a little more. And it's like, wow, I'm starting to see like, wait, I did that. I forgot about that. Holy crap.
I know, right?
So yeah.
I love it for that function that we can have it serve in our life, is that we get to remind ourselves of how awesome we are and the progress that we've made. So congratulations on learning that.
Well, you're the one who got me reading the journal in the mirror after I was doing it. I still go back to that. It's taking a break from a lot this week. I'm just tired. I'm like, you know what? I said I'd exercise, and here it is. I need to rest.
Yep.
So scale back a lot. The reading it in the mirror with the you are worthy and your body is created to make a safe space, that affirmation, that's something that I've been saying every day. And I read it over, like, as I put it in the group, I'm like, this is my affirmation for my body. And it's starting to get in there and change.
Yep. If you tell yourself something often enough, your brain will start to believe it.
So, yeah, very good.
Very cool. Do you have anything that's come up for you that you didn't expect?
Yeah, the stuff I put in the journal and how resistant I am to resting.
What is it about resting that you're so resistant to?
Again, I think it also ties in with, because it seemed to go from intelligence to a dump out about resting to why do I have such issue with questions? They float, and I heard a lot. It's in my head, the underneath. On top, I knew, I'm like, you know what? Over the last 5 years, because I've rested a lot, I've actually felt a lot less pain and all that. But the underwriting things that were going off that I didn't even know were there were, it's, unless you're actually sick, like from a doctor sick, you're not supposed to rest. You're supposed to push through it. Probably the best way to deal with it is you keep going and you keep pushing, because if you're too long, that means you're probably lazy and you end up going to make yourself sicker. All this was running under there as I let it come out, and I'm like, that doesn't even sound right.
I think you froze. You did.
You're frozen.
No.
Oh no.
Now I'm back.
Oh, there we go.
And you're back.
Yes. So yeah, that doesn't even sound right. Yeah, it's stuff that I was telling myself I didn't even know I was telling myself. So.
Yep, I know the feeling. I've been through that experience as well.
So I think, that being not smart and actually resting and stuff, I somehow right down underneath it is not doing that, leads to like gut twisted up with that could kill you.
Yeah, it's definitely something. If you don't get that energy out and have that opportunity to reflect on it, you're just going to keep on doing the same shit over and over again. That's what I used to do. 100%. I used to just think that I could just logically plow my way through it. So I'm glad that it's working for you.
Oh yeah. It's, I kind of started, I know when it hit, I felt like I was starting to move backwards. I was so exhausted, pushing through everything. It was like, came down to the debate is what's going to take less energy? Ordering Domino's or nuking a dinner and putting sauce on it? Like, I was that tired. Yeah.
Oh, you know, it's so funny. I eat mostly vegetarian now, and I'm thinking like 97% of what I eat is vegetarian. And every once in a while, I'll throw in a pizza, and I always have to take Prevacid for heartburn because my body always goes, "Why are you doing this to me?"
Yeah. Oh, me with the food. I've been between I find excitement and stress, they act the same way in my body. I've been stressed since almost before memory with growing up in the house I was. And it's like, oh my God, I adore my parents. My mom's like, she's so cute and innocent. And when I was a kid, though, we didn't have the knowledge we had now or any of that. So it was a house that was run by fear. A lot of fear, like paranoid kind of fear. And that vibrates down to the kids. And after a while, it's always having that stress, the fight or flight. I'm like, I'm now trying to get used to actually relaxing. It's like, I'm finding it really hard to comprehend, probably because it's so like ingrained, fight or flight with the stress and everything.
Yeah.
And I think when they talk about, I don't know how much science is behind it, but fibro, it's like those chemicals from your brain and all releasing so much that your body just gets sensitive to it and starts attacking itself like a reaction.
Yeah, I don't know much about fibro. I know that it's something I hope that I never go through. It sounds.
It feels like you've been bitch stomped about 3 or 4 days after you've been bitch stomped. Down to the bone. It's like it's a pain that goes from the bone out and the joint. It radiates out, and it's like just a bruised, overripe banana when it flares up. Yeah, it sucks. It's those pictures you see where people look like bruised with all the lines after car accidents. If people say if you could actually see what fibro looks like, that's what it would look like. Everything it's nasty. And I find now I'm starting to listen to my body, probably after, especially with repeating that there and doing all the work and start to tell myself it's okay and starting to learn how to relax, that it just flared up in this last week. Like it does, it'll flare up if I eat too much junk or unhealthy food that's full of sugar and that type. I'm like, just need to clear it out. It flare up with a high level of excitement and activity or stress and anxiety. So it's balanced down in the middle, and cold weather, which I just found out because I didn't know I was cold. I've noticed oh my God, I hurt. And then I realized, wait, you are cold, girl.
So what do you do? What do you do when you discover that?
This is why I've got the amazing support network with people I can turn to, or like, it's okay to rest, and actually made it into a challenge. Okay, your challenge this week, what do you need? I'm like, I need good food. I need to hydrate a lot more. I need to just like rest, binge watch TV, have days clear of doing a lot, and just sort of breathe. And vitamin D from lack of sun. And so it's helped that it's turned into a challenge now, because like, okay, my brain can understand that as a way to start doing this.
Very cool. I like it. So the question now is, what are you going to do with all of this knowledge? Are you going to share it with your people around you, or with Facebook and the things that you're doing to get through the day? Because, to be honest, that sounds really challenging.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rewriting from being like this perfectionist, drive yourself, didn't understand why I do it, drive myself so hard. I've ended up in the hospital because I was actually really sick and didn't notice it because it was, ignore and override the pain and keep going. So I got to the point where I'd ignore and override it. And then with the stress and everything, my body just break down.
Okay.
So I'm overwriting that now. And or rewriting, or I'm learning, oh yeah, I blab about it all over the place. And any of my friends are kind of like, huh, yeah, oh yeah, everything I'm learning, I'm like, do you have 3 hours? I don't say this first, but they kind of expect it. Do you have like 3 hours to hear about what I've learned in the last 2 days? Because it's awesome. And Facebook, this Friday, I'm going to be back with sort of a part 3 of what I did to get started. That's starting with support network and what you're putting in and watching. Is it supporting where you want to go? Are the people around you supporting where you want to go? Or are they holding you to where you are?
I like it.
Second part's going to be starting to flip that perception on the question from, well, how do I do something? Because I notice when I'm asking how, I'm in a place where I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do. I'm having trouble seeing the answers. I want to go back and I want to, just get into complaining again because I am frustrated. I don't feel heard. I feel lost. I'm flipping that to, well, what can I do? And not the teenage girl, yeah, well, what can I do? But the honest, like, well, what can I do? So, okay, well, here's the issue. Me, pain, exhausted. What can I do? Well, okay, can exercise. Well, no, I need some rest right now. And then sort of backtrack it. It's like, okay, so, for that, how do I start feeling better? Okay, well, food. I can start with food. It doesn't have to be, it's not going to look like the perfect meal plan from the gym guy at Apex of the perfectly balanced everything. Simply better than it was. Simply I love the suggestion of substituting, like I substituted dry fruit for candy, which is, yeah, there's still some, they've got sugar on them in this. And they also retain the fiber from the fruits. I don't have the urge to pig out on them as much. It's a step up, healthier choice. In the mornings, I can do something simple like eat a banana, which is pretty easy on the tummy, so I can get used to eating in them after I wake up again. What can I do? Hey, you enjoy binge watching TV and you are exhausted, girl. You can binge watch TV. These are things I can do right now at where the best I am and recuperate and then go back into it again like I was. What I can do is take a break from dating for a couple weeks till I have the energy to walk back out to the coffee shop. And so, yeah, it's going to be next one, just flipping that question a little bit, shifting your perspective a little bit. Are you focusing on the problem to solve the problem, or are you focusing on solutions and troubleshooting the problem? They can seem so similar, but worlds apart.
Yeah, one thing that I learned to do is to ask the question differently. Instead of asking the why, because your brain already knows, it's already got a story just ready to come out, right? So when you ask, okay, so like you just said, what can I do differently? With an authentic, what can I do?
Yeah.
How can I look at this differently? Where is the lesson in this? You start asking yourself different question where your brain doesn't already know the answer. So that will automatically shift you into a different state of being and provide you with a new perspective.
Yeah. Shifting the newspaper questions.
Yeah.
Who, what, when, where, why, how.
Yeah, except the why.
Oh, I love why. Ask not in the way most people asked it, asked in the way a 3-year-old does. is as you get older, and I've done this too, why comes with the conditions and the, yeah, well, why me? Well, why this? When a 3 or 4-year-old goes, you're like, hey, the sun's up in the sky. And they're like, why? Why is the sun up there? And it's like, well, because planet. Why? What's a planet? Why? Asking like that 3 or 4-year-old, like, why? With that real curiosity of, I really want to understand why. It's so cool. And that enthusiasm of the little kid, I love it.
I like the idea of it. I don't have enough experience using it in that way to feel like I've got an appropriate opinion on it. You know, my experience with asking why is that as you get older, you've had these stories in your head for so long for the why, because you're a piece of shit, because you're not worthy, because you're a liar, or you're not tall enough, or you're not rich enough, whatever. Your brain already has the answer ready to go. As soon as you start with the why, your brain goes like, that's why. Don't you remember? So that's why I like to come at it with the where's the lesson?
Yeah.
What can I do differently? You know, how can I shift my perspective on this? So I don't have to worry about the why and that instant answer.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Shift that perspective like right away. That's what I'm looking for, because I'm looking to be different. I'm looking to be unstuck.
Yeah, and we're with myself, why has always been the question that the answers lie on the other side of. Like when I'm doing research or learning how to do a live planted fish tank, and something's not going right. Well, why did that go wrong? Hey, Google. And,
exactly.
You know, like, well, why did those, like certain plants, why did those plants melt? Oh, they need CO2 with a higher and wider spectrum of light. Oh, okay. Or I'd like research with, well, pretty much anything. It's like, well, why? You know, let's hypothesis. Why? Okay. Well, ooh, why? Oh, I want to know.
Right. So, and I think in those situations, why is amazing. But if we're asking why did it happen to me,
oh no, damn, no. The why is no. That one's absolutely, when it's come to that stuff, why can be very damaging, because then it's more coming from the lack place and the am I enough, rather than I am enough and I genuinely am curious.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
a lot of times, why is this happening? Yeah.
Good. Okay, good. I'm glad we got that cleared up, especially for the
Oh no, it's that's the tone thing. It's, are you asking like sort of the 17-year-old pissed off female teenager, or are you asking like the 3-year-old? It was in a video and I'm like, I love that, because any of the questions, they can be, you know, if you're asking them like that, yeah, well, why? Well, who are you? Well, where did that come from? You're already kind of answering with expectations.
Yeah.
Where if you ask like,
you've been telling yourself this for years. So All right. Well, listen, I have to go. So appreciate you being here and your enthusiasm. And let me know if there's anything you need. I'm really glad that you learned so quickly. That guy wasn't the one. Which is great, and you know, he made a graceful exit, even though you needed to prompt him. But still, he replied. So kudos to him. And just let me know what you need. I'm going to be doing a lot more posting, a lot more content creation for Facebook, and a lot more engagement. So I'll be able to put a lot more into the group and just out there into the world. So let me know if there's anything you want me to speak into, and I will be sure to do that for you.
Yes. Yeah, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right, so I'm going to check in with everybody about Module 4, and if we need to recap it for them next week. And if not, we'll just move on to Module 5.
Yes, I see you next.
All right, sweetheart. I love you. Have a great night.
Love you too. You too.
right, come on. Hey, what are you doing? Silly boy.